When I was a kid, everybody wanted a JanSport backpack. Now, I know it's different today, but back when I was in school, you all walked into the building and everybody could see the kind of backpack you had on. And JanSport had a big, prominent label right at the top of your backpack. And everybody would know if you had the good quality JanSport or if you had the cheap nylon Kmart brand. That was usually what I had. But one year, I convinced my mom that this was the year that I needed to have a JanSport. I knew it was more expensive. I knew it was more than we would normally pay for a backpack, but I also knew that it was worth it. And so she went with me, and we got the backpack that I wanted, dark green, brown, kind of supple, not quite leather bottom. I went to school, and for the first few months, everything was great. But wouldn't you know it, before long, I wore a hole in the bottom of the backpack, and the stuff in my backpack started to spill out onto the ground. I knew there was no way I was going back to my mom and saying, listen, Mom, I know I told you to spend extra money on a backpack this year, but I've already messed it up, and it's only October. So I had to come up with a solution, a way to get through this. My first thought was to put a little can on my desk with my face on it, looking really sad, and asking all my friends to put quarters in it so that I could afford my own backpack. And when I didn't get enough money fast enough, I decided I was just going to find a way to fill that hole in the bottom of it. So I went and I found some cloth at home and I laid it into the bottom of the backpack and I tried to stitch it in there. It never stuck just right. I got an iron-on patch from a cheap store and ironed it on when my mom wasn't around, trying to cover that up. That didn't work either. It just peeled off and tore the backpack even more. You know, no matter what I did, there was no way I was going to repair what was broken in the bottom of that with something different, a different kind of cloth that didn't match and didn't fit and didn't work. What I love about Jesus' teaching is that he often uses examples that we can identify with. He said in Luke chapter 5, "No one tears a patch from a new garment and sews it on an old one. If he does, he'll have torn the new garment, and the patch from the new will not match the old. And no one pours new wine into old wineskins. If he does, the new wine will burst the skins. The wine will run out, and the wineskins will be ruined. No, new wine must be poured into new wineskins." What I love about what Jesus is teaching here is that he's actually talking to his audience about himself. And he's saying to them, listen, I know you expected for me to look different and do different things when I came to earth. You probably thought I was going to overthrow the government and establish God's kingdom literally on a throne right here in Israel. He says, but I've come for a higher purpose. I've come to give my life so that all might be saved and all might have eternal life forever. I've come not to make a new nation, but to give you new life. I love that Jesus teaches this way because he says, if you try to take who I really am and put me into some other concept of what you think faith should be like, it's going to be like putting new wine in an old wineskin. The old wineskin's going to fail and burst, and I'm going to escape all over the place, and you won't know me at all. I wonder if that's ever happened to you. Have you ever had a church hurt? You know, an experience at a church where the pain of the relationships that fell apart, or maybe a leader who had a moral failing, or some other way you were hurt in a church setting where it's hard for you to go back to church now, or it's hard for you to trust Christians. And the Jesus that you've imagined and thought just doesn't quite fit into this pain that you've experienced. Or maybe you've tried to start going to church for the first time, but it's hard because your concept of what Christianity really is messed up sometimes by Christians who are imperfect and don't always follow Christ's teaching the way that they should. And as a result, you're not sure you even want to be in a relationship with Jesus. Or maybe for you, it's just that you've tried to make the Jesus of the Bible, the one who walked on this earth, fit into what you want for your life. And no matter how much you shape him and you turn him, he never fits into what it is you think you want him to be. What if you started letting Jesus be who he actually is? What if you started letting Jesus be who he is? What if you started listening to his words and letting him speak for himself instead of any misconception or preconception or desire to fit him into a box that we already have? My challenge for you today, as you think about these verses in Luke where Jesus is saying to you, don't try to fit me into what already exists. Let me be something new for you. My challenge for you is, would you be willing to listen to Jesus speak for himself? And you don't know. Maybe just doing that will lead you into a new and a fresh relationship with him. Maybe it'll lead you out of some misconceptions about your beliefs in God or about hurts of the past or about what you think Christianity is supposed to be and into a fresh realization of who Jesus actually is. I'm hoping that you'll do that. And I would love for you to join me in doing that. Over the next few weeks, I'm going to be reading and talking about the teachings of Jesus in videos just like this one. I'd love for you to subscribe or follow right now so that you can be a part of this conversation. I'd also like to get to know you personally. And what I mean by that is that my team and I want to hear your comments and your questions and your prayer requests. If you'll leave them with this video in this platform, we will respond to them through podcasts and through personal messages. And I have a group of people waiting to pray for you right now. We want to get to know you too. Will you subscribe or follow today so that you and I can have a conversation about what Jesus actually said and who Jesus actually is? And I pray that in your life, you'll find that he's better than you could have ever possibly imagined.